Hello everyone, this is English instructor Denisha Smith, and the purpose of this video is to review the communication process. Let's get started. Communication may seem effortless, like it just happens, but it doesn't. There are several steps in the communication process, and understanding these steps will help you improve your communication skills. Now, as a student in a college class taking a professional or technical communication course, it's important that you know what happens behind the scenes when you communicate. Communication happens in 7 steps, so there are 7 stages here. We have the sender, the receiver, the message, the channel, the feedback, barriers, and then the communication setting. So let's take a look at each of these 7 steps in a little bit more detail. The sender is the individual who has a need to communicate and has some purpose to achieve. The receiver is the intended recipient of the communication. The receiver can be one person, a group, an organization, etc. Then we have the message. The message is the information or idea that needs to be sent from the sender to the receiver. The channel is the method or means used to communicate the message. So for example, email, a telephone call, even a Word document can be a channel for communication to happen. Feedback is the response the receiver of the communication gives to the sender of the communication. Barriers. That's number 6 in the 7-step communication process. Now, a barrier keeps the message from getting through or from being understood. Barriers can be internal or external. So an internal barrier would be a barrier that is within the sender or receiver. For example, a negative attitude. Maybe the individual has worked all day long and they're exhausted. That can be a barrier to communication. Okay? Or lack of knowledge on the topic can be a barrier to communication. There are also external barriers, and those barriers come from an outside source. So for example, a noisy room, or if a computer breaks down, that could prevent external communication. A meeting could get canceled. That could also prevent external communication. And finally, we have the communication setting. So this is the environment in which the communication takes place, or the circumstances by which the communication is taking place. So the setting includes any factor, physical or non-physical, that impacts the situation. So for example, if you know your boss just came from traffic court or from a 3-hour meeting with his or her bosses, this might not be the best time to ask for a raise. You would want to consider the communication setting to see if the recipient is available, or if they're in a good mood or in a good place to receive whatever it is that you're trying to communicate. So those are the 7 steps of the communication process. We have the sender, which is the one communicating. We have the receiver, which is the individual or individuals or organization that will receive the communication from the sender. We have the message that's being communicated, and then the channel by which the message is being communicated. We have the feedback that the receiver gives to the sender. We have barriers to communication, which can be internal or external. And then we have the communication setting, which we also need to consider to make sure that there are no hindrances to our communication getting across. These are the 7 steps of the communication process, and it's important for you to learn this as we go forward in the class. If you have any questions, please let me know.